So, Eric, we get into these discussions, these philosophical discussions sometimes. We've been having philosophical discussions for years. And so we got this idea that we really ought to get some of this philosophy in a YouTube recording. That's kind of the purpose of that. But up till now, up till now, we've had a little bit of philosophical discussion, maybe not intentionally, but we're looking to be a bit more deliberate about this on some of our episodes. And yeah, so right now I thought we could talk just in general about our exploration of various philosophical topics. But maybe I can start off by asking you a question. Do you consider yourself to be a philosopher?
Uh, I don't. I'm kind of an armchair philosopher. I'm like not qualified really to discuss philosophy, but yet somehow I still do.
Well, my theory is that all of us are philosophers, whether, I mean, you meet somebody who says, you might meet somebody who says, I don't have any philosophy at all. I just live my life and I don't have any beliefs at all. I just believe in reality and that's it. And
Yeah,
that's kind of like, well, that's really a kind of a philosophy, really. You might
yeah,
call it,
right.
I mean, because I would, some people say, I don't have a philosophy. I just believe in common sense. And I'm like, well, then your philosophy is the philosophy of common sense. And they're
Yeah,
like, well, that's not a philosophy, that's just common sense.
exactly, exactly. Yeah.
If I'm going to get analytical here, the philosophy of
Okay.
common sense is the idea that there is a normal way to perceive reality, and you are just normal. So it's like you're saying, I am normal. I'm going with the flow. I'm doing what all the other people are doing, and that's why I'm common sense you know, because
Hmm.
the average person knows things. And if you're not an idiot and, if you're not like deviant or, weird, then you'll get it. But if you're weird and deviant and you don't think the way that everybody else does who has good sense, then, you know, you're just lost. So good luck to you, buddy. And to me, that's kind of how I took that attitude about common sense being a philosophy. And maybe
Hmm.
that I don't want to, and I know that's too reductive, right? I'm
Who
reducing.
was that wrote that book called Common Sense? Was that Benjamin Franklin or somebody like that?
Yeah, yeah, it did. But I don't want to. Again, I don't want to
Or was
pigeonhole.
that no? Was that Thomas Paine?
Yeah, I think
I
it was
know
Thomas Paine.
it's
Yeah.
one of those revolutionary era guys. Anyway, I was just throwing that in there.
Well, I've also heard the expression that sometimes
So
common sense.
maybe that's where they get their common sense philosophy from. You know,
Right, right. Yeah, I
from
mean,
Thomas Paine or Benjamin Franklin or
yeah,
whoever
well, I
wrote
mean,
that.
the pamphlet Common Sense by Thomas Paine, you're correct. It was Thomas
Yeah,
Paine,
yeah, yeah.
had a huge impact on American culture and philosophy. But I think that, how expressions and concepts can morph over time. I think that at the time when Thomas Paine talked about common sense, um, it was not the status quo. It was not like what everybody believed. In fact, half the population thought we ought to stay with Great Britain, and the other half thought we ought to have independence. So when he's asserting common sense, he's saying this is the point of view that makes the most sense, maybe to the most people, but not.
Yeah.
But it wasn't. So I guess the point I'm making is common sense. When Thomas Paine talked about it, was not something that was widely agreed upon. It was controversial.
Yeah.
Whereas
Right, right.
today, whereas today, when we say, "Oh, it's just common sense," we're saying this is not controversial. We all believe this, except for people who just, don't know what they're doing. Um,
Yeah.
so
Right, right.
maybe the context has
Yeah,
changed.
this the context is a lot different for sure.
Yeah, but I don't know. I think we all have, to the wider point, I think we all have a philosophy, a philosophical point of view on one thing or another. And I'm not talking politics. I'm not talking about religion, although religion is one important aspect of philosophy. But I don't think that religion necessarily gets at the heart of a person's philosophy, because I think a lot of philosophy that we have is very personal, just like on our
Hmm.
own. A lot of it's personal preference. Like you could say, like, well, my personal philosophy is that whatever, I don't like to wear this particular type of clothing, or whatever. I don't like this type of
Hmm.
music because I'm philosophically opposed to. I guess you could say that, right? So,
Yeah, there's a
yeah.
lot of people that say that.
But one area of philosophy that interests me in particular is well, existence, questions about existence. So I'm going to read that's one of them, but I'm going to read some philosophical topics. They often revolve around, and I found this on the internet, revolve around fundamental questions about existence, knowledge, ethics, and the meaning of life. Some popular topics include metaphysics, which is the nature of reality, and existentialism, the meaning of existence. What about that jumps out at you out of all of those topics? I mean, maybe all of them. I don't know.
Um, I don't know. I know a little bit about philosophy, not, I, I don't consider myself, like an expert philosopher or anything like that. It's like, um,
Like the
what
meaning
were
of
my,
life.
what were my choices
Yeah,
again?
I'll say them again.
Can I
Existence.
use a lifeline?
Yeah, sure. You can use existence, knowledge, ethics, and the meaning of life, metaphysics, which is the nature of reality, and existentialism, or the meaning of which is the meaning of existence. So, so,
Wow.
I mean, the nature of reality. I remember having discussions many years ago with one of our friends about the nature of reality way back in the day, and what is reality? And there were a bunch of teenagers sitting around, and like just because, like, man, just because you actually see it, does it actually mean it's real? You know, like
Yeah,
and,
yeah.
and I remember like having that discussion, like just like maybe the things that we were seeing and experiencing, maybe they're all just an illusion, and like there's another reality that we don't know about. How can we know that we're actually? And I remember thinking
That's kind of what I used to think. I
yeah,
mean, well, that was a like a school of philosophy, like way back in the times of like the ancient Greeks, and they called that skepticism, I think was the name of it.
yeah,
But basically these skeptics, they were saying that you can't really trust, that they're basically saying nothing can be known with certainty, and you can't even 100% trust your senses and your
mm,
perception. And I just agree with that. I mean, how can you 100% know anything? You know,
yeah.
that, that's kind of how I feel about things in general.
Well, it's true. When you see like a magician do something and you're like, well, I can't trust my eyes. Obviously my eyes played a trick on me there, sleight of hand or whatever the magician is doing. You hear something and you think it's one thing, but it turns out to be another. You smell something. Is it really, sometimes when you're a kid, you smell something. Oh, this smells really great. This must be delicious. And you bite into it and it's soap. So you can't trust your sense of
Yeah,
smell either,
right, right.
sense of taste, something may taste delicious, but it may make you very sick. So maybe it's not, I mean, I don't know. Or you might
But
think
I
that,
remember back in the day, you kind of saw yourself as a stoic, you know.
oh,
It's,
well, that's a
remember,
particular. Mhm.
you remember that?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, there are different branches of philosophy. The different Greek philosophers talked about what is the appropriate approach to life. So you had Epicurus, and that's where we get the word Epicureanism, which is enjoying to the maximum the pleasures of this life. So. Yeah, I can kind of relate to Epicureanism because I like to savor experiences that we can have while we're
Oh yeah, that
playing
yeah,
existence. Yeah.
that's different from stoicism, I think.
Yeah, so Stoicism is kind of the shield that you have for your soul, I think, against the disappointments and bad experiences in life,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
that they don't overwhelm you. You don't, you know. So what are your thoughts on that?
Um, I don't know. I'm not a big expert on stoicism. I mean, I had a history class in college, and they were teaching us about stoicism, Epicureanism, skepticism, and uh, the other one was cynicism. And
Yeah.
those were it was like the phase of history after the fall of like the Greeks philosophers. It was in between the Greeks and the Romans. I forgot what that period was called, but
Yeah, me too.
there was a name for it. But those were the four philosophies from that, like that post Greek period.
And they
So
still have, yeah.
I'm kind of showing off my knowledge a little bit here, but it's not real convincing.
It's pretty impressive, you know, because I couldn't have given you that list of philosophies from that time period, but uh, yeah, but these philosophies still, of course, have an impact on our thinking today. It's part of our language, at least English language, and the way we look at life, the way we conceive of ourselves and our place in the world and the universe. But Stoicism is a very interesting topic for sure. Very, very interesting. And I think a big important part of Stoicism is virtue. You know, that virtue is, I could be wrong about this. Maybe I'm mixing things up, but I think that virtue is supposed to be the fruit of a Stoic attitude. That if you are a Stoic person, then you develop the fruits of virtue. I'll have to look at that again, but I believe that's what part of what it says.
Oh, and if you're interested in philosophy, you need to read. I already told you this before, but
Hmm.
you need to read Zen and the Art of Motorcycle Maintenance because he
Yeah.
gets deep into some philosophy. Like,
Hmm.
actually, there's not a lot about Zen in there, but there's a whole lot about like ancient Greek philosophy. But that
Hmm.
was just such an interesting book to me. I just finished that a few weeks ago.
Really?
But yeah, yeah, it's well, I read about the first half of it, and then I kind of took a little break for a year or two, and then I finally finished it just recently. But
Hmm.
it's just a really interesting book
Hmm.
to read.
Maybe,
But
yeah.
I,
Well,
it gets a thumbs up for me.
yeah. I've been meaning to read that book. I've had it recommended to me by different family members over the years. Just never got around to it. But now you've brought it up, so I probably need to read it and check that out. But
Yeah, yeah,
yeah. So that's great. Well, we could look at some little parts of the book in a future video. Have a little discussion on some of that would be interesting. Again, we just kind of looked at philosophy in general, not any one specific topic, but I think in future videos we'll have a very focused topic and just kind of go in deep on that one. But we're a little unfocused this time.
yeah.
All righty. Well, thank you and talk to you soon.